Okay, so let's now go on to some of the more character-based questions. Bottom 3 characters.
Yeah, again, this was kind of including everything.
The question was not specific.
Yeah, again, this is a tough one because, we already talked about Travis and Sulin, so yeah, those two would be kind of at the bottom end for me. And Moloch, I don't know if I want to say Moloch is the character I hate the most. Because, I guess a lot of the guest characters, I guess I just don't really have much of an opinion on.
Yeah, sure.
So it's hard for me to think, who did I not like? The characters I usually think of are the more recurring ones, or ones that were particularly great or particularly bad. So those are kind of the 3 characters I thought of.
Okay,
two recurring ones that I felt could have had more expansion, and then one that's just kind of funny bad.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I put Travis 2 and Sulin as well. But Travis 2 specifically.
I think... Yeah, again, Travis 2... It's more so Travis 2 that I...
We say that.
I don't know.
It's technically the same character. It's not like a regeneration in Doctor Who. It's literally
help.
the same person.
It just doesn't help.
It
just doesn't help.
And Aurak, of course. Did you expect anything else? Computer rankings.
Well, we already know yours.
You know mine. You know my bottom one anyway.
Yeah, computer rankings from least favourite to favourite. Aurak is definitely the weakest of the 3. I do not dislike Aurak anywhere near as much as you. You've made that very clear. But yeah, definitely just thinking of the 3. Yeah, Aurak is the least favourite. And then Zen and Slave. It's interesting because Zen is classic. Reliable, gets the job done, and all that. Is kind of iconic. All systems are functioning normally. But Slave is really surprising at the end because he's got some really funny.
Slave has such a big personality.
Such funny quotes, and just him being called Slave is kind of funny as well. It plays the idea of it's this machine that's stuck working for these people, and
it's interesting though because it wouldn't fly now. There's some uncomfortable subtext to it being called Slave. In software engineering, we have this idea of the master and slave layout, and that's not a thing anymore. It's been renamed in the industry to main and the other. If you're working with branches, they're sub branches, and you have main now. It used to be called master, but that's been changed now.
Sure.
And I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. I think it is subtly funny, but there is some slightly uncomfortable subtext.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Not necessarily funny as in haha, but an interesting commentary of sorts.
Yes. I'm not sure it is a commentary though.
Well, I don't know. Well, commentary more so about. Okay, maybe not commentary, but just a little dig, I guess.
At what?
Yeah, I don't know. Just. Maybe I already said what I had to say.
Yeah, I do think it is. It's a joke because at the time they would have been called these are the computer slaves, and it's turning that into a funny thing, and it is at the time. But it just does have that uncomfortable subtext, which I don't think they would have thought about at the time.
Well, I think I agree, but I think what I was saying is that, in a way, I don't know. It might be saying something about the free will of machinery and all that.
I don't think it is.
Okay, let's scrap that then.
No, if you think that's fine. I didn't ever pick that up.
Okay. Well, maybe my thoughts just aren't refined enough.
So that's why I put Zen top for that reason. But I like Slave. I think it's a really neat pun, if anything else. That's about it.
Okay.
What characters would you like to see reappear in Blake 7?
I honestly I couldn't really think of anyone in particular that I wanted to see come back.
Right. So nobody. I put apart because they're all dead. Servalan. Why not?
Yeah.
Jenna. I know Blake said that she died, but we don't have to believe that. We don't have to believe what Blake says. He's trying to be a hard bounty hunter or something, isn't he, in that episode? He could be lying. So Jenna, why not?
Okay.
Also the guys in Redemption. The altars again, whatever they
Okay,
were called. I thought they were really cool.
Right now,
I see them.
Yeah, now that you're mentioning it, I think I'm vaguely remembering.
Yeah. So that I think those just about it. Servalan and Jenna are just about the only ones you maybe could bring back. I don't know. Thoughts on Avon's character in Series 4?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, we've already touched upon this, but yeah, I think it's really interesting seeing his kind of descent into madness, how he deals with the impression that Blake is gone. It's just really interesting to see how Avon copes without Blake, how maybe a little bit more power is in his hands, and what he's willing to do to survive, and all that. No, him, because, Season 4 is when he kills that doctor.
Yeah.
So it's like we're seeing, I guess more of the, his heart of gold in a way is being like challenged, I guess, anyways.
Was she going to die anyway? Someone did mention that, like, that they wouldn't have, like, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I don't know what. Either he had to leave her there to finish installing the star drive, or they would all die. So I don't know. I can't remember it too well.
I think it's mostly just because of that coldness that he shows in just being like, let her die.
Yeah. Although, interestingly, the first thing I put down is the heart of gold is still there. Ultimately, when it comes to the people he cares about, he's always got a heart of gold.
So I'm not saying that it isn't there.
Yeah.
That part of it is still there, but that there's like the challenge of it.
Yeah. He doesn't want to believe that, and he will always tell you that he doesn't care, and he's always trying to hide this fact.
Yeah, he did that.
It
he does that
through.
a lot in the early things.
And he's just constantly more and more out of touch with himself.
Yeah.
The paranoia levels, wanting to find, he wants to find Blake and save the galaxy with Blake. That's it's the height of this character, which I think that's been there the whole time. He's had many chances to leave in Series 1 and 2. Yeah. He had so many chances,
but he stayed.
But he stayed the whole time. He was always loyal to Blake, and as soon as he heard that he might be around in Terminal, jumps halfway across the galaxy for him.
Yeah.
As soon as he finds out it's on Garda Prime, goes down there. I think Avon is consistent throughout the show, or consistently inconsistent, if that makes sense. Consistently out of touch with himself, consistently...
There's a through line throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
He, in a way, he's like, aside from Blake, he is the main character, pretty much.
Do you like Corbin Baker more as Babe and the Berserker or Doctor Who?
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He's got more going on.
Yeah. What do you think of a show that came full circle, Avon being doubtful of Blake, then joining him and dying for the cause at the end? Do you want to go first?
I can do.
Go for it.
Yeah, I did not think about that before, but yeah, there's definitely something like poetic and ironic about that. The fact that, Avon in a way becomes Blake, like in some way, or at least the idea of him, because Blake is like seen as this like symbol.
But doesn't he go down to get Blake at the end so that because he is that symbol and Avon isn't that symbol?
Oh, right, okay, actually, yeah, so, at first Avon is, like, dismissive of it, or at least doubtful, but then he, like, buys into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, he thought that he was, that he was his own kind of person, that he had his own grasp on things, but eventually it's what he comes to believe.
I think he always believed that.
Oh, and, like, but he's only just showing it.
He's only just coming to terms with that and realising it.
That's, okay.
Because there's enough evidence that, like we've said, he stuck around the whole time. Why else would he do that?
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point.
I think, I put down, it was always heading for this. New Avon in Season 4 would never have left Blake from the beginning. It's not a new character. I don't think it changes that much. It gets heightened. It exaggerates. He gets more and more of that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's different.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
It makes it more tragic, really. The fact that it was inevitable in a way, that he didn't realise this about himself earlier.
Yeah, and by the time he did, it was too late.
Yeah. Really, really brilliant. I think it's actually really great writing for Avon.
Sure, definitely.
And although I didn't put him as my favourite character, I think maybe he had the best writing.
Yeah, which probably played a part in why he is my favourite character, but yeah.
Did you ever think of it as a Shakespearean tragedy Avon and Blake in love before the final episode.
I didn't think those things specifically, but I got the sense that there was something between them.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially with the end of Series 3, the fact that Avon is so determined to find Blake, I got the sense that he did feel incomplete without him.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that nothing else mattered. I did start to think, okay, you know, what's happening? What is Avon going through?
He goes to lengths there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's willing to sacrifice anything to find Blake.
Yeah.
In Series 2, and it's reciprocal, I think. Blake in Series 2, you know, knows that Avon's been threatening this the whole time, threatening to leave, you know, you're going to get us all killed, whatever. And Blake's just like, no, I've always trusted you.
Mm-hmm.
The way that, I don't... In love is maybe a bit blasé about it and a bit simple, but you're right, there's something between them that's more than that.
Yeah.
There has to be. There's so much evidence between them.
Mm-hmm. And again, the fact that Blake could be like this symbol of hope, that's what Avon... Yeah, that is what is keeping Avon going.
Yeah.
Right?
Completely. In the finale, Blake saying, I've waited for you, specifically. That's what I've been doing here. I'm waiting for you. I'm just like, this is, a romantic tragedy. It has to be. That's how, and, you know, I'm sure at the time they weren't thinking of it as a gay relationship. There's the 70s, they wouldn't write it that way. I know the actors didn't like that particularly or whatever. But, you know, we're free to interpret it like that. And honestly, if it's not that, what is it? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't think of it as Shakespearean. You know, I didn't make that connection.
I didn't make that connection until the end. But I definitely brought it up, I think, in maybe I think Star 1 was the first time I maybe suggested that.
Oh.
Like, that's kind of, we kind of knew that they always trusted each other. I think that's maybe where I first started to get this impression.
Okay.
I always knew throughout that Avon would never leave. That was, I think I literally kept saying that. It's not going to happen, mate.
Yeah, you did.
But I think Star 1 was sort of the first time I thought, okay, there's something there between them.
So a bit earlier then.
And then Series 3 finale really cemented it. Like, what are you doing? You're
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes and no is the answer to that. If Tarrant hadn't said, he sold us Avon, would Blake have lived?
There's a possibility, because at that point Avon is like, there's all sorts of emotions going through his head, so the next thing he hears could have had the most influence.
Yeah.
So Tarrant straight away saying that Blake is the villain, you know, maybe that's what made him come to the conclusion.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I kind of went the same but opposite.
Okay.
So I thought, he's in such an emotional state already there, because he's already got so much evidence suggesting that he's the villain. He's already in that state of mind that I'm not sure, unless Tarrant explicitly comes out and says, no, he's just acting like this, it's okay, he's fine, don't shoot him, Avon. Unless that happens, I think Avon's already made up his mind.
Yeah, mate, yeah. So you're saying that he was already under the impression that Blake was against?
Yes.
Okay.
So I personally, I think you're right. I think there's definitely, possibly, it's so many ways to interpret it, which is what is so great about it. But I think personally, he's already made up his mind. For me, Avon is the kind of person that jumps to these conclusions very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, him saying, you're going to get us killed. Always thinks he's sure of himself. And he's been like that throughout, and it's the same here, and he's wrong. Again, he's wrong quite a lot about the when he jumps to conclusions.
Yeah, and it's the downfall.
Yeah, so for me, I think he'd made up his mind.
Right.
And also, wouldn't the Federation have shown up anyway? And
that's true, but if they were all working together, they might have been able to...
I'm not sure, though. With the addition of Blake, would it have really helped? Would that have been the thing?
They would have had more of a chance, I guess,
I'm not
even
so sure.
if it didn't.
Maybe. I think it's not looking good. Whatever, even if Avon comes around and starts believing him,
right.
You're not in a good place there. You're still surrounded by Federation. Just had the realisation whilst editing this that it also mirrors the story that Blake told about Travis when they were surrounded. Arlen is essentially the new Travis in this case, surrounding Blake into meeting with rebels, going to that meeting and trapping them there. It kind of all comes full circle, which is again another reason why I think that ending would have happened anyway, because that is mirroring that Travis-like trap that started the story in the first place. What character do you identify with, and why?
I struggled with this one, because I'm not sure I do, really. I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Well, just thinking about, like, identify with, you know, like... So, basically, is that, like... It's like seeing a part of yourself in a character, in a way. Yeah, I'm not sure I don't really know if I did feel that way with any of the characters.
Okay, fair. Personally. Yeah, it's a tough one, because I don't generally relate to criminals.
Yeah,
space sci-fi space criminals, rebels. It's not really me. Having said that, a little bit of Dana maybe with her whole musical side and the singing thing.
Sure, that's
tiny bit of Villa of kind of not wanting to be involved, the humorous thing, and
there's definitely elements to some of the characters that are, you know, relatable and human, but like on the whole, there's not one character that I see and I'm like, Absolutely. Oh yeah, I really kind of connect with them in that sense.
I'm the same. But like bits of Dana and bits of Villa. I think.
Okay. I like your answer for Dana's though.
Yeah. If it was ever remade, who would you want to play each crew member?
This is another one I struggled with.
I really liked this question. Okay. I don't know a lot of actors, so a lot of these are going to be Doctor Who actors, some of who you don't know yet. But again, I took this to mean like recast the current series for modern actors.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do a reboot with anything like that. Or anything like that.
No, completely new.
No. I was saying if Blake 7 was made with those scripts, now, who would you cast? That's kind of what I was taking from it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, do you want to do you get any here?
No.
You didn't get anything.
No, I really couldn't think.
I managed to get a full crew here.
Okay.
I'll pitch this to you. This is my pitch meeting. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to make the sci-fi series.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Dirty Dozen in space.
Right.
Okay. We're going to have the main character. It's called Blake 7. The main character is called Blake, played by Idris Elba.
Right. Okay.
And he's got a crew, right? Okay. He's like a rebel. He's been brainwashed. Okay. And he meets first of all his crew of criminals. We've got Jenna, who's a pilot, and she's going to be played by Georgia Tennant.
Right.
Georgia Moffat.
Okay.
Whatever she's cast as now.
Sure.
You'll know her from The Doctor's Daughter.
I do remember that episode. Yeah.
And the other person she meets is Villa, and he's a thief, and he's going to be played by Mark Gatiss.
Sure. I can see that.
And then later on, they all get arrested, and they're going to a prison planet where they meet Gan, who's a big fighter person, but he's actually got like a heart of gold, and he's really friendly. He's going to be played by Christian Nairn. Don't know if you know this guy. He was in Game of Thrones. He played the Mountain. Never seen Game of Thrones. He looked like he might fit the role.
Neither have
It's a very shallow casting, but that's what I'm going with. Didn't cast Callie. Never mind. Okay. They meet. Their ship is the Liberator, and actually we're going to have 4 series, and later on it's also going to be Slave, and they're also going to meet another computer later called Aurak.
Okay.
Yeah, I know this is all a bit much. Just go
You're
with
throwing
it.
computers at me.
Yeah, there's 3 supercomputers in this series.
Okay.
They're all going to be played by Nicholas Briggs, of course.
Okay.
There was only really one option there.
Fair.
Oh, and of course, in episode 2, where they get the ship, they also meet this character called Avon, and he's going to be like the secondary main character. He's going to be the tension with Blake, and he's going to actually take over when Blake leaves at the end of the
already planning
ahead. Yeah.
Right.
And he's going to be played by an actor called Sacha Dhawan, who you maybe don't know.
Sacha Dhawan.
Yeah. You don't know him. That's fine. I'm sure other people know who he is.
Okay.
Who else have we got? Yeah, so the main villains throughout in first 2 series, it's going to be a guy called Travis, who's got an eye patch, and Servalan, who's the commander of the Federation forces. Later on, she's going to become Commissioner Slayer. Don't worry about it. She's going to be played by Michelle Gomez, who you don't know either, I'm guessing.
I don't.
And Travis is going to be played by David Tennant.
Right.
Because he's actually, apart from obviously the 10th Doctor, he's famous for a lot of villains, and I think
Is he?
Yeah, I think he would be great as Travis.
Okay. I'll be interested to see how that turns out.
Who else have we got? I didn't cast Sulin either, apparently, on this list. I did cast Dana, who's going to come in at Series 3. She's going to be played by Indira Varna, who she was in the Quatermass Experiment, the 2005 one.
I have actually seen that Quatermass thing.
Yeah, so we have the entire cast of the Quatermass Experiment in this, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this sounds like a pretty promising show. I'm going to greenlight 4 series
brilliant.
of it.
Excellent. 4 series, but no more.
No more, it's got to end after that.
Okay. That's my cast.
Okay.
Somebody do some fan art of that, please.
Yeah.
Would you want to see Blake 7 remade? If so, how would you foresee them getting around the crew being terrorists, as in a modern setting they would be, which kind of links into, do you consider them freedom fighters or terrorists?
Yeah, this is an interesting question that, again, we've only just kind of thought about. Well, first of all, would I want to see it remade? I don't know if I would. Because I think, for the most part, like, it holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, there's, aside from the occasional thing, I think it's still a great show to watch today. Getting around that whole issue thing, I mean, you could possibly reduce the kind of moral ambiguity of it. Yeah, maybe have the characters, like, be against using violence more often instead of... Yeah, because obviously there's a lot of action in Blake 7, so maybe... Yeah, if you didn't want to, like, show them as terrorists, then maybe have them find other more peaceful ways. Like, no, I'm not saying that they don't ever use violence, but only in, like, the most desperate of times, I suppose. Kind of like, yeah, maybe a bit like the Doctor, like, they would want to find any other way first.
I put no, I don't want to see it remade. Especially not in the format that it is anyway, because I wouldn't want Blake played by someone other than Gareth Thomas. If you're calling it Blake 7, you have to have some link to Blake and Gareth Thomas, I think, to be honest. I wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
And I don't see them terrorists at all. I think they are freedom fighters. I don't recall, off the top of my head, any instance of them terrorising or trying to force people to join their cause or killing innocent civilians.
Yeah, that's kind of...
in order to scare other civilians into joining them.
Yeah, that's why that's kind of what I was thinking, is that I don't know if I would consider them that, but my answer was basically saying if that was an issue, like, if that was a thought. But generally, no, I do see them as, you know, wanting to do the right thing ultimately. Like, yes, they do use violence, but it's like they are, at the same time, they're up against the Federation, which are already really brutal.
Exactly. You know, see Horizon, where they liberate Horizon.
Exactly.
See, there's so many
They do bring good to people.
Think about season 1. Most of that season's episodes is spent blowing up computers, not people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're disruptive, but they're not out to hurt everyone.
That's what Freedom Fighter is, you know.
Yeah.
You're not, oh, well, we can't do this because that would actually be too disruptive. Freedom Fighters, sure, they're definitely not terrorists, I don't think. Unless I'm wrong, unless I've forgotten some instance where this happened.
No, I think I'm more leaning towards freedom fighters, I think, but that's how you may get around the issue if there was an issue.
Yeah. Do you think your Series 1 criticisms have been answered, or do you feel the same? Did your opinions on the show change from beginning to end?
I'd say that straight from Season 2 they were answered.
Okay.
Less... Yeah, because criticisms we had for Season 1, the repetitive episodes and introducing a lot of things that wouldn't be brought back again. Yeah. See, yeah, even Season 2 definitely had less of that. It had more well-rounded episodes and varied episodes. Yeah. Starting to focus more on the actual characters themselves. So yeah, I'd definitely say those complaints were definitely addressed. So we've kind of even figured that they were listening to us along the way somehow from the past.
I kind of interpreted the question as slightly differently.
Right.
my Series 1 criticisms weren't addressed, although the show itself got better at not having those problems.
Okay.
If anything, I now look at Series 1 as being even worse than I did at the time because of how good Season 2, 3 and 4 were comparatively.
Well, that just goes to show that the improvements were needed.
Exactly. So yeah, Season 1, yeah, I think definitely still just... I've not rewatched it, but looking back on it, I can't see myself suddenly liking it, especially after 2, 3 and 4. Well, I say liking it. I liked it. I can't see myself liking it more. I can only see my opinion going down, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like it was basically just... It was like the test season in a way.
Yeah.
Just establishing things.
Really
and
felt like
figuring out what the show is going to be.
Really felt like it looking back, yeah. Any episodes you've had a change of heart about since watching them initially? Would you change any of the scores having watched all the episodes? Kind of the same question again.
I have not rewatched any of the episodes,
No.
so I've not really had the chance to rethink any episodes.
No.
But that's definitely something I'm keeping in mind.
I guess I rewatch them when I edit them.
Yes, you do this, yeah.
Having said that, there's nothing dramatically different that I would change. The only thing that I'm most unsure about and that I do want to rewatch is Sarcophagus, to see if I'm really actually that upset about those last 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I wonder if I would be on a second viewing. I'm not sure. The other one is Harvest of Kairos.
Okay.
Knowing Ben Steed,
Yeah.
knowing his last two,
You
and
might
wondering if
pick up on things.
I would watch that again and go, oh god. Because I don't remember so completely disliking that one at all.
Yeah, and you had no preconceived ideas
Of Ben Steed, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I would watch that and just...
Okay.
You know.
Well, that's something to keep in mind then.
So those are two, Sarcophagus and Harvest of Kairos. Are the
Okay.
two there. So I guess we're going into sort of more crew, behind-the-scenes-y type questions now.
Yeah.
Who's more important to Blake Seven, Terry Nation or Chris Boucher?
Even though Terry created the show, created the world, Chris Boucher was the script editor, so he will have had a hand in every episode, and the episodes that he himself wrote have been some of the most defining. So, by a bit, Chris, because ultimately it's like Terry had the ideas, and then Chris, created it. Well, he didn't create it, they're Terry's characters and world, but it's because of Chris that they are the way they are on screen.
Yeah.
And that is ultimately what we're seeing. It's
Yeah.
the way that it has been put together and edited and revised. So
Yeah.
so I think by a bit it's Chris Boucher.
I agree with you completely. Although, yeah, Terry Nation, it wouldn't exist without Terry Nation.
Yeah, so he does deserve the props for that.
He does. You're right. I think it wouldn't have the legacy. It wouldn't be as good. It wouldn't be remembered. I don't think we would be watching it now if Chris Boucher hadn't made it so good. Hadn't made it the way it was. Hadn't developed it like that. Yeah, Chris Boucher, I agree. Based on Mary Ridge's directing, would you have liked to have seen more of her in Doctor Who Beyond Terminus?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Directing was generally really great in Blake 7, and I know Terminus was quite a troubled production.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to rewatch the series down the line? Not necessarily for YouTube, just because you're fans.
I think I will one day.
Okay.
I am interested again to revisit episodes that I might have a slightly different opinion on, but also just to see the characters in action, and to kind of go through the whole journey again. I think it won't be for some time, but I think I can see myself rewatching the show at some point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I will watch it all through in order like that.
Right.
I will definitely come back to individual episodes, Gambit, Sarcophagus, but probably not the thing as a whole. I'll probably just pick and choose episodes here and there. Are you going to miss the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. I definitely will. It's been great watching it throughout, and just as it is watching a show, just meeting all the characters and going along the story and discovering things along the way. Yeah, and it's definitely, even when rewatching the show, it's not going to be quite the same because the significant stuff that's going to happen. But yeah, I'm gonna miss it.
Absolutely. I think you know, apart from on that level of it just being a damn good show, it's got us through lockdown. It's got us through the last year. It really has. That's been a companion towards us, I think.
Definitely.
We've had that there, always as a netting of comfort and fun, and I'm going to miss that. Any recommendations for those of us who likes Blake 7 and Who as to what to watch next?
Well, the one thing I thought of, which is not necessarily something to watch, I mean, it could be, but the Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
why didn't I think of that?
As we've been watching, there've been numerous times when we compare something to Mass Effect, and there was one episode that had so many similarities.
Star One.
No, it wasn't Star. It was the stuff with Shadow. Yeah,
oh,
Shadow.
that too. Yeah.
Which got us thinking: was Mass Effect inspired by Blake 7?
I think it must have been in some way. Yeah. Or yeah.
But yeah, the Mass Effect trilogy is it's a great set of games that is very much like Blake 7.
Go play Mass Effect. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not big on sci-fi, actually, weirdly enough. I know we do 2 sci-fi shows, but I'm not. I'm mostly in it for adventure, creative storytelling, that kind of thing. If that happens to be sci-fi has more scope for that kind of thing, which is why the kinds of show I like happen to be sci-fi. I don't specifically seek out sci-fi.
No.
That being said, get my book. Have a read. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's sci-fi, it's adventure, it's got Western vibes to it.
It's got a ship with a crew.
Yeah, it qualifies.
It qualifies. Go read it. Some more technical questions. How long does it take to cut down a reaction?
You're
going to let me answer this one? I'd say, very simply, it's the length of the thing we're reacting to plus maybe half. It's like 150% of the length. So if it's 50 minutes, then 75. I think it could be a lot quicker, but I do try and make them more interesting. I try and edit things in if we're talking about something from the past, specifically in Doctor Who. I try and make it smooth, the cuts between things.
Yeah.
I add in the fades in, fades out. But I could be lazy about it, and I know a lot of reactors are lazy about it. I could put in more effort as well, I imagine. You know, I try and do some effects and things. You know, like in the Blake video, I put in the ending to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I was just being lazy and chopping just bits of us talking together, but you know, I try and make them somewhat interesting for you. I put in there's a Doctor Who episode which I don't know if has come out by now, which has a really cool one which I was very proud of.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so things like that. I do try and I put more effort in than average, I think, which is why. But they could be a lot quicker.
I like the thumbnails.
Yeah.
Those.
Yes.
I mean, that used to be just one image.
Yeah.
And then you put the title, but gradually you have put more thought into the thumbnails.
I've got better at using paint.net as well, so that helps. I've been learning, you know, so those take time as well to do. It's a formula though at the end of the day. Technically, it's watch us if we're talking, keep it in. If we're not talking, cut it out. If we're making weird facial expressions, keep it in. If we're not, cut it out. I don't think it would be ridiculously difficult to write a tool that did it for you. I'm sure there may even be things that do like a lot of the grunt work of of cutting out silence.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. But then maybe not the facial expressions.
No, maybe not. But you could do some of it, certainly. It'd be something to look into. As a software engineer, maybe one day, if I have a spare few months, I might try and make a tool that automatically does a lot of that editing.
That definitely speaks a lot to the future of, like, entertainment production.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd never rely on that for the final product. I would always want to go in and add some of the personal touches into it.
Of course.
But just for the grunt work of syncing up what we're reacting to with us, cutting out all of the boring bits, and then I just go in and add my fades, add in all of the extra bits. If there's something missed out I want specifically, I wouldn't rely on it, but I think it'd be cool to look into that. Do you have time to schedule in any more reactions in your week? No. No. Sorry.
Is this like about us watching or video uploads?
It must be video uploads.
Yeah, we have 2 every week.
Yeah, I think we watch when we have time. We don't want to put ourselves under pressure. We don't want to feel like this is a job. It's not a job. We do this for fun just because we want to watch things. Ultimately that is what we're doing. We are just watching these shows and engaging.
The camera's on at the same time.
Yeah, and engaging with the comments, doing these questions. We don't make any money out of this, and I don't think we want to make any money out of this.
Yeah, this is part of our interests, it's not, it's not work for us.
No, and I think if we added any more, apart from the fact that I have a job,
yes,
I write books on top of that, I create albums, and it'd be too much. It'd be way too much. You have a course going, which actually you've just finished, but
I've got stuff going on.
Yeah,
we both have things going on already, and this
two is a lot for us.
Turning this into more of a job would be kind of piling up.
Yeah, so no is the short answer. We can't do any more. Would you consider setting up a Patreon account with early access and full length? I think we've answered that. No, I'm afraid not. Are there any reaction channels you watch and enjoy?
I don't watch reactions.
No?
So I haven't got any recommendations.
I've got a couple. I'm not going to name them, but they're linked. We have, on our channel, there's a recommended section, or I also watch.
Right.
I've linked a few on there. You can go and have a look at those. Mostly .2 ones, to be honest.
Yeah, in the past you pointed me towards a couple of classic Who reactions, but I think I only watched a few episodes and didn't, because they do a lot of other things as well, and maybe even new Who. So I.
Fair enough. I've enjoyed your videos. Now what am I going to do?
Well,
I'll give them suggestions.
If you've only been watching the Blake 7 videos, then we have other series that we watch. Maybe we've got Doctor Who and Sarah Jane Adventures. If we might end up watching another show that you really like, and you can always rewatch the Blake 7 reaction series at some point.
Yeah, I would also say go and watch someone else's reaction videos. There are plenty of others. Like we just said, they're linked. Make your own.
Yeah, that's true.
Make your own reaction videos to a show that you've not seen, or to a show that you have seen. Review them. Write down your thoughts.
Review your favourite things.
And of course, remember to buy my book on Amazon. City of Runaways is linked in the description, and review that as well. Do a reaction video to a book.
Now that's a new thing. Book reactions.
I'm hopefully actually making it into an audiobook. I'm definitely currently making it into an audiobook, so that will come soon as well. Let's conclude this off then with the final 2 questions. After watching all the episodes, how do you feel about Blake 7 as a whole piece?
I think it's a great piece. It's got really great characters that are always entertaining to watch for one reason or another. It's kind of like Star Trek, but it's got its own kind of its own spin, its own kind of edge to it. It's classic feeling, but it also has a lot of really great, unique episodes and ideas that very creative.
Yeah, I love the creativity.
And it really brings up a lot of interesting themes as well. Especially, as it progresses, it kind of delves deeper into it, which is what you would hope from a show.
Yeah.
It's a great gem of sorts from the late 70s, early 80s, and I think a show that a lot of people would really get something out of, and that could, yeah, could definitely make more fans.
It's fascinating to see how it inspired and sort of set the tone for future TV series.
Yes.
Of this format and this kind of writing, you know, seeing the 13 episodes with the sort of subtle story arc. We're seeing that now in Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's ahead of its
30
time.
30 years before, they were doing it in Blake 7, so influential, and you see so many things that are like Mass Effects that have,
Yeah.
like, you see these things so many years later that have clearly been inspired by this, and really great to see that. Which is why I think you know, a lot of you said I've been very critical. I have. Doesn't mean I haven't liked it at all. But I hold it to these modern standards, because that's what it's asking for. I don't hold it to the same classic standards as Classic Who, because it's being made as a modern show.
At the time, it wouldn't have been
No.
modern as in recent, like now. It's, you know...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, judging it by the standards of New Who might not be 100% fair.
It's not, but it's more in that category to me than it is in Classic Doctor Who. Although it feels like Classic Doctor Who. The kind of writing, the kind of characters, the kind of format, it's more modern. Where I judge it like that a lot of the time.
I see that as more so maybe being ahead of its time.
Yeah?
Rather than... Yeah, so
well, they go hand in hand. I don't think they're exclusive. But
okay.
that's what I think part of the reason is why I can be quite critical of it, is because I'm holding it to a ahead of its time standard. And I know that. And finally, what do you rate the show out of 10?
If I had to give Blake 7 a score out of 10, I would give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, which for me, yeah, that is pretty high. It's not without its problems, but for me, it is absolutely worth watching. It is a, complete recommendation for me. It's a great show.
I'll give it 7.
Okay.
Thought it's worth the average for all of my scores is 6.8. So I suspect yours is quite a little bit lower, actually.
I don't know if I was going by averages. Just
No, I
how
wasn't.
I feel about this show.
I wasn't. I came up with 7 before I worked that out, but yeah, 7 for me. Blake 7. It's a Blake 7 out of a Blake's 10. That's it.
There we
We're
go.
We're done with questions.
Yeah, some really interesting stuff in there, and definitely good to reflect back on the show this way.
Yeah. And I'm sure we've only scratched the surface
Of course.
of what is possible to talk about and discuss. What are we doing next?
Yes, what is...
I hear you ask.
what is the next show that we are going to be watching and reacting to? Well... Hey! There we go, that's it.
There you go.
The Prisoner.
I know, we've had that as a suggestion. We've had lots of suggestions, loads and loads of suggestions from absolutely everybody. We listen to them, but we do have a list as well. Most of what you suggest is already on our list. We decided on this a while ago. Because it's what we want to watch, and ultimately we're going to watch what we want to watch. Like we said, not doing this as a job, not doing this as a Patreon. We'll take it into account, of course. We like to hear suggestions. But at the end of the day, we're going to watch what we want to watch. And we'll get around to your show eventually. I don't think we want to stop watching things together because we love it.
Yeah, we will eventually cover everything.
Yeah. So that's it. You can look forward to that in a week or two. I'm not sure exactly. The Prisoner, episode 1. We'll see you around.
Yeah.
Hope you stick around.
Yeah, thanks for... Yeah, this does officially mark the end of Blake 7
Yeah.
videos on our channel. This is the last one.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks again for sticking around throughout all of it. And we will see you for whatever's next. Obviously The Prisoner. And everything else.
Bye.
Bye.
Outro.
Outro.